Welcome to the Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup, and as you can see behind me, 27 cars on the grid. The 2012 season starts now. Car number 6 from the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup, Stefan de Resta, brother of Paul de Resta. Carried a little bit of pressure there, but you're a newcomer to car racing.
Yeah, I've always done karting since I was about 13, and it's never the same professional line as Paul. Mine's is just a hobby. I'm getting a bit tall and heavy for the race and that, so me and my dad spoke about taking the step up, and we've not got anything planned as yet. We just decided it was probably better to upgrade my licence in case I do want to go down south and do some British Championship racing and that. So we looked into Knockhill and that, and we found out the best class to probably come and do was minis. It was quite comfortable to bed into. I'd never sat in a racing car before this weekend really, and I had the first day yesterday and I've qualified 10 today, so I'm quite happy that I've got up to pace, roughly up to pace quite quickly. So
tough championship, 27 cars, so to jump in straight away 10th on the grid, you've got to be happy, but you must be looking to go forward in the grid here in race 1.
Yeah, well, as I said, I've never done a race in a racing car before, so I'm not sure what to expect. I've never done a start, and there's no practice starts and that, so if I can come in the first race and stay in where I'm in that, I'll be happy, and then maybe after the next one I'll look to go forward. But as I say, I'm not going to try and do any bold moves or anything to try and just grab a place and that. The main thing is that I finish and get my signatures to upgrade my licence.
Confirmation of Tim Slay's pole position with Kenny Brewster alongside. Then it's David Slay and Kenny McLeod on row 2. 2 Stevens on row 3, Clark and Brewster. Then it's Kyle Reid and Murray Muir on row 4. Behind them, Ross Wiley and Stefan de Resta. Then Malcolm McNabb and Stevie Kerr. On the 7th row, Lewis Grant and Guy Johnston. Then it's Mikey Falconer and ladies pole position winner Fiona Wallace. Chris Reid next, and James Bruce lines up 19th. Then it's Elaine Marshall and Scott McKenzie. Nicky Dixon 21st. Next to him, Hamish Brandon. Then John Finlayson and Danny Dreelan. The grid completed by William Smith, Emma Bruce and Stephanie McMurdo. Well, as you heard, a fantastic entry of cars this weekend for round 1 of the 2012 Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup. 27 cars on grid. I can tell you there are so many championships that would like an entry like that in these times, but they've got it right. The championship, we no longer have Vic Covey Senior running things, but Vic was honoured at the Scottish Motor Racing Club Awards for what he's done for motorsport in Scotland, and in particular what he's done for the Mini Cooper Cup. More of that anon. Tim Slay makes a great start. Kenny Brewster in second position, and we go on board with James Bruce. There with him is Chris Reid, car number 29, who gets the jump on him. So Chris Reid started 13th. Through they go, beg your pardon. Chris Reid started 17th, James Bruce in 18th. I don't think James is going to be able to get the better of him as they go down Duffer Strip for the first time. Mikey Falconer in car number 2, we saw briefly as well, but the leader's safe and sound through the first corner. That's always the nerve-wracking moment for these cars in the first race of any season, and the man who's beaten his nerves is Tim Slay, former XR2 champion, XR2 Newcomers champion, rookie champion from last year, and he leads this one. He's already got the points, of course, for taking pole position, so that's don't believe a word of what David Slay says. They're gunning for every point possible, because that will count at the end of the year. David Slay is going to be disappointed with qualifying not only behind his brother, but down in 3rd on the grid behind Kenneth Brewster, who did a superb qualifying performance, 63.288. Tim Slay though, a 63.044, very good performance from him, and very close there between the two ladies. The purple and white car of ladies champion Fiona Wallace and the white and yellow car we saw coming out of the hairpin, which is Elaine Marshall. Those two are going to be thrashing it out all season for the Ladies Cup. Now look at this, coming up is Kenny McLeod, qualified 4th, the black and gold car. Kenny McLeod, well, he was looking down the inside and challenging David Slay, but now he's coming under pressure from Kyle Reid. So Kyle Reid, I think, has gone, oh, there's contact there. Now that, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. 3 cars out. There's Kenny McLeod, lifts a wheel, going over the curb. Right behind him in yellow is Stephen Brewster, who now does he get into the back and push him round, or is the spin of Kenny's own making? But there's a shunt there. The car spearing off onto the grass to left of shot is Stefan de Resta, who's made up a lot of position. Bearing in mind we were looking at the battle for 5th position. Stefan qualified 10th, so he'd made up a lot of ground in the first couple of laps. And sadly getting involved in that. No issue, I don't think, with driving standards there. It was just really, really bad luck just put the safety car out for a couple of laps and allow the rescue guys to do the job. You can see there's plenty of people on scene. You can't go racing without everyone's involved. So many people involved in motor racing. Of course, you've got the officials, stewards, timekeepers, the marshals, medics as well, of course, on circuit. Well, I said that if at all possible we try and avoid red flags, but just a little bit too much clearing up to be done. So the drivers are going to get a break. They'll reform on the grid, and the restart for the opening round will be over 7 laps. And Tim Slate and company have got to do it all again. There's going to be a gap on the grid where Kenny McLeod was due to start from. A good qualifying performance from Kenny. Would have lined up 4th position. That's going to open the door for Steve Brewster. There's Steve just coming in to slot the yellow car. So he'll be pleased, just turning into his slot is Murray Muir, the black and pink liveried car. And the marshals with the job of forming up the grid again, with of course the various gaps in position. Back of the grid, Steph McMurdo in her two-tone blue machine. Ahead of her, William Smith and Emma Bruce. Danny Dreeland there as well. You can probably see the fluorescent red livery of Hamish Brandon, who's a little out of sorts in qualifying. We're used to seeing Hamish a bit further up the grid, and I'm sure he'll be looking to rectify that over the course of the rest of the season. He's got the rest of this meeting, of course, to try and see if he can climb his way through. I think Hamish running his own car now. He used to run with the Minimax team, but going self-prepared for this year. So cars all ready, and we're just waiting for the lights to come on. There's the last board going out from the starting gantry. The countdown very well underway. 3 lights on and getting ready for take 2. Round 1 of the Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup for 2012. Lights out, away they go. Great start again by Tim Slay. Really hooks it up well. Look though at Kenneth Brewster slotting across into 2nd position, denying David Slay a look down the inside for 2nd. So it's Brewster in 2nd position, David Slay in 3rd, but it's his younger brother Tim Slay who leads them down into Scotsman Corner for the first time of asking. Through they go in green, and running well is Steve Clark. So Steve Clark running well. Steve Brewster in the yellow car, but through John Arweir they go up towards Carloop for the first time. And everybody, I think, safe and well. The other car we've got to look out for is Kyle Reid. There he is. He's actually up into, I think, 4th position. So Kyle Reid, who started effectively 6th on the grid. Now we go on board with James Bruce. The car in front is Fiona Wallace, the reigning ladies champion. Mentioned her in the first start, and James Bruce I think probably a little bit too far back to do anything at the moment about Fiona, who qualified in 16th position, James Bruce 18th. So there's a car from between them on the grid that's got dealt with, as it were, as up across the line again goes Tim Slay. In the mix we've got Ross Wiley at the moment, I think down in 8th place, but back on board with Kenny Brewster trying to chase the race leader. I can tell you Kyle Reid's posted the fastest lap of the race, a 63.837. It's away from qualifying pace, but you would really expect that as Kenny Brewster tries to close down again on Tim Slay, the race leader. Now, these cars, for my money, just the right specification. It ain't easy to overtake. You do need some skill to be able to do that, but overtaking is possible. We will see overtaking through the course of the race. The field now, everyone's starting to find their level. You can see the damage on Steve Brewster's car from that first start, but doesn't seem to be affecting the car too badly at the moment. Along Railway Straight, coming down into Real Radio hairpin once again. Things relatively settled at the moment. We'll see whether Steve Clark can put the pressure back on Steve Brewster, who's running there in the number 19 car in 5th position at the moment. Looks like we might have a change behind, a real scrap going on there with Ross Wiley trying to look up the inside, but across the line we go. David Slay's found the inside line of Kenneth Brewster. Slay's found the inside line down into Duffer's Dip, and the reigning champion is through to 2nd place. And here comes Kyle Reid as well. Reid, now if you read, he's read that pretty well. He's looking down the inside line, but Kenny Brewster's got a little bit more momentum. Let's have a look on the inside from Kenny Brewster's onboard. Are we going to see Kyle Reid come through? No, we're not. So Brewster, he's lost 2nd, but it was a successful defence of 3rd place. So now we've got the Slay boys 1st and 2nd. Tim Slay leads, David Slay leads, Kenny Brewster in 3rd place, Kyle Reid in 4th. Let's check the rest of the positions to see if they've changed. No, they haven't. Stephen Brewster in 5th. Then it's Steve Clark in 6th position. A gap back to Ross Wiley in 7th place. Great drive from Ross, qualified in 9th position, so he's running well as Kenneth Brewster really gets into attack mode again. Up over the line they go. Tim Slay with a bit of breathing space over his brother, who is being backed up. Last lap board going out here for round 1, so on to the 7th lap. Everybody on the pit wall enjoying it. Here comes the little pack with Ross Wiley leading that lot. We've got Murray Muir in the mix as well. Malcolm McNabb, Mikey Falconer and company all there. But back to the race leader. Well, the race leader, Tim Slay, is away. David Slade second. On board with 3rd place. Tap into the back of the reigning champion. Kenny Brewster means business. I don't think that was malicious. That was just close racing. Through the chicane they go. Up over the blind brow. I wonder what that's going to be like if we get to see one of the reverse circuit races, because Knockhill Circuit now have a licence to run racing here at the circuit anti-clockwise, so we might see one of those later on in the year. That will be fantastic to see. And Kenny Brewster, but I think it's going to be a podium for him. He looks too far back now to challenge the 2nd place man, the reigning champion David Slay, but it's going to be Tim Slay who opens his account for 2012 with pole position, win. It's not fastest lap, it's not going to be a perfect race for him. It's Kyle Reid with fastest lap, the man in 4th position. Through they come. There is the reward for Tim Slay. It's the checkered flag. Tim Slay wins the opening round of the championship. David Slay in 2nd position. Kenny Brewster in 3rd. Then it's Kyle Reid, Steve Brewster, Steve Clark. Gap back slightly. There's Ross Wiley. Steve Kerr is next from Malcolm McNabb. Murray Muir rounding off the top 10. Confirmation of the result. Slay first, Slay second, Kenny Brewster in 3rd place. Then it was Kyle Reid. Steve Brewster in 5th position from Steve Clark in 6th. Then it was Ross Wiley from Steve Kerr. Malcolm McNabb 9th from Murray Muir. Then Mikey Falconer. Lewis Grant in 12th position. 13th, Chris Reed from James Bruce. Then Nicky Dixon and Danny Dreelan. Hamish Brandon up into 17th, ahead of Fiona Wallace at the end of the race. Fiona winning the Ladies' Cup. Scott McKenzie next from Elaine Marshall, 2nd in the Ladies, ahead of Emma Bruce. Then it was Will Smith and Steph McMurdo. John Finlayson completing the runners in 24th place.
Welcome to another episode of Racing No Filter. Joining me in sunny California, Bill Wood, and down in sunny Florida, Peter King.
We're going to take a look at some of the products HPD has created for the 2012 Honda Civic, and specifically we're going to show you how to install an adjustable sway bar.
Until then, folks out there, you take care.
I'm here with car 17, which is Fiona Wallace, the lovely, freshly painted purple and white car. Fiona, first again in the Ladies' Cup. Well done.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be back again. William Waugh and Dal Keith have supported me, so it's good to be back and defending my title.
Exactly, I was just going to get to that. You won the Ladies' Cup last year in the Minis. A little bit of pressure there from Elaine Marshall, I think it was, who was just 2 positions behind you.
Yes, actually, before the red flag, she'd actually overtaken me, but I managed to get a good start the 2nd time and keep her behind.
Well done, you've got to do it twice more today.
Yeah, I do, so hopefully I can keep her behind. Thanks.
First race from the Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup, and our winner is our pole position man, Tim Slay. Well done. You kind of had it your own way at the end. You built a nice comfy gap, but in the beginning with that red flag, a little bit of pressure.
There was a big gap. Yeah, that's actually true. I'm going to have to agree with my brother on this occasion there. I mean, Kenny was giving me some severe heat throughout the opening laps. I mean, even before the red flag and everything as well. I thought I had a wee gap just before the red flag, and I thought, oh, here we go, the restart. Kenny was once again driving fantastically. It was all over the back of me. I wasn't able to break away at all, and obviously I just managed to hold it up a wee bit and just let my brother sort of make his attack. When he made his attack, left the two of them fighting. I didn't do anything spectacular out there. I just maintained position pretty much,
Good stuff. A great start to the 2012 season. I'm moving across to the brother, David, defending champion. Good points haul again. You managed to jump the 2nd place man. You've got the 2nd position, and you're going to pretend that you're happy for your brother, but you're not. You're not really, are you?
Okay, sir, I'm quite comfortable at the moment. Like, it's early part of the season. Like, why get agitated at this particular time? It's always best to come in first, but I'm quite happy with 2nd place here. It was troublesome out there. Kyle Reid pushing like hell from the rear of me. I was really wanting to
see. You had fastest lap.
Did it? He had, or he did?
He did, yeah.
Well, he was fairly moving. I really wanted to shake him as hard as possible. Got the opportunity, and Kenny, I thought, right, Kenny, you can have Kyle because I don't want him anymore in my bumper leg. And I think he thought exactly the same after 2 laps with Kyle on his rear end. So glad to get away from him, get some space, and take second place.
Well done, good start to the year, and I'm going to ask you to swap positions, and if we can get Kenny across.
Just do it next to my car. Next to the truck. That'd be nice.
Good job, 3rd place, first round. Now you told me here over Christmas time, I don't know if I'm racing or not. You turn up, you've not done any testing, and straight on the pace, 2nd on the grid, 3rd in the race.
Yeah, pretty delighted actually. It was quite, not I say last minute, it was quite a last minute deal in terms of putting together a Craig and Minimax. So got on the grid, car went well yesterday. We didn't really know where we were because our transponder wasn't working, but turned up with pole this morning, in qualifying this morning, and we seem to be on the pace. So race was really clean so far. It was just David caught me napping at the hairpin, hands up sort of thing. So, but 3rd's fine. First race of the season, car in one piece, more than happy.
Wasn't comfy though, was it? Because Kyle was pushing.
No,
Kyle had fastest lap of the race.
No, he was there and thereabout. It was just trying to get a gap for us to go, sort of thing. Because the minute David got past, you got these guys who you're defending from behind. So it was just kind of all at once. But no, Kyle was fairly pushing on, so we'll have to watch out for them in the next race. So.
Well done. It's great to watch that huge grid as well when they're all flooding past.
Yeah,
it looks
well,
fantastic.
Exactly. Other guys that are right that went off earlier on, but it's a great racing at the front. So just delighted to.
Well, the grid for race 2 decided on the race results of race 1. That means that it's the Sleigh Boys on the front row, Tim on pole, David alongside, Kenny Brewster and Kyle Reid row 2, the 2 Stevens again on row 3, Brewster and Clark. Back to row 4, Ross Wiley and Stevie Kerr, then it's Malcolm McNabb and Murray Muir, Mikey Falconer and Lewis Grant on row 6. The 7th row, that sees Chris Reed and James Bruce, then it's Nicky Dixon and Danny Dreelan, Hamish Brandon 17th, next to him is Fiona Wallace. On to row 10, Scott McKenzie and Elaine Marshall. Then it's Emma Bruce and William Smith. Steph McMurdo and John Finlayson in 24th position. Kenny McLeod makes it onto the grid 25th. Stefan DeResta and Guy Johnson places on the grid for them, but sadly they're not going to be taking the start. The good news is, though, some sterling work by Craig Noble and the Minimax team to get that very badly damaged car of Kenny McLeod onto the grid. And we'll see Kenny coming up onto his grid position very shortly. The black and gold livery just had a lap and a bit, didn't he, in race number 1 before that prang. And we'll see what sort of progress he can make. It's not ideal conditions, as you've already heard from the interviews and you can see for yourself. And there's Kenny, just to the back row of the grid, to the left of shot, just ahead of the ambulance, ready to take his start. See whether he can make some moves up the field in his Grand Prix Adventures liveried car. It's a great liveried car. Kenny, a big character, and doing a lot of work to support the Children's Hospice Association of Scotland, and he works tirelessly for that throughout the course of the season. So if that's something you'd like to support, drop into Knockhill and catch up with Kenny and give him some of your hard-earned to help out needy children and indeed families up in Scotland. 1 minute to go here. We'll see what he can do in terms of the race, but it's the Sleigh Boys that have annexed the front row again. Probably the hot tips for the championship this year, and they've started well, but we've seen pace from the other drivers, notably in race number 1, of course, Kyle Reid, who got the fastest lap, and that was a real talking point, wasn't it, with the guys in the interviews. So Kyle expecting to do some decent things here, lining up in 4th position alongside Kenny Brewster with the Sleigh Boys in his sights. We'll see what they can do, but conditions slightly different. Here's a different setup, maybe different tactics to employ as well. And there's the 5-second board that goes out. That's the last part of the countdown to the start of the race. So 25 cars starting race 2 of the 2012 Scottish Mini Cooper Cup, sponsored by Celtic Speed. On board with Kenny Brewster from 3rd place. Sleigh Boys get away well, Tim Sleigh, but look at the lightning start then from Kyle Reid. Kyle Reid very quick off the line from 4th position into 3rd, ahead of Kenny Brewster. So Reid, fastest man in race 1, down Duffer's Dip for the first time. Can he put the pressure on the Sleigh? You heard David Sleigh saying he didn't like the pressure from Kyle Reid. He was real pleased to get away from him. And the, let me see, Steve Clark and Steve Brewster having a good old go there. Clark in the green car trying to chase, still past the yellow car of Stephen Brewster. I don't think that works. So Stephen Brewster at the moment is in 5th position. Just ahead of him, Kenny Brewster, who looks to the inside line. But Kyle Reid, it is, that's up in 3rd place. Tim Sleigh and David Sleigh, great start from those boys. See what they can do in these conditions. They were as you heard, weren't too concerned about putting brand new rubber on, which is, I suppose, the ideal thing to do. But we'll see how that plays out. Down towards Real Radio for the first time. Brewster coming under a bit of pressure from his brother in the yellow car. Looks around the outside. Then it's Stephen Clark. Through go the rest of the boys. A packed field. Let's keep our eyes open for Kenny McLeod. There he comes now, turning in now. You can see the damage on the front of the car. Kenny's already made up 5 positions. Quick look at Will Smith in car number 30. 31, John Finlayson. Both new drivers, you can see from the black cross on the back of the car. So very difficult conditions for first-time drivers to have to do. They had the dry race in race 1, probably the best way round, really, I guess, to have a dry race first, and you can get a bit of familiarisation with the circuit in dry race spec, and then race 2 could have been a lot worse, couldn't it, for them to have an absolutely sodden race 1, but that wasn't the case. On board with Kenny Brewster now, putting the pressure onto Kyle Reid. Looks at the inside line at Carlu corner. Is he going to go through? Back into 3rd position. Grabs the apex. The Sleigh Boys are in front. You can see he's got good visibility at the moment, despite the weather, and he's through into 3rd place. Kenny Brewster gets 3rd position back. Great manoeuvre. Well, we said that they'd be overtaking, and there certainly is, even at the sharp end, where the guys are so evenly matched. Into the tri-oval section. Now, let's have a look and see whether Kyle Reid's going to look on the inside and try and get a position back. Kyle very clearly thinking about his race, and also mindful of Stephen Brewster behind him, then Steve Clark. So the top runners, again, running pretty well. Ross Wiley is still there, back in 7th position. That's where he started. Ross had a grand race in race 1. Now there's the leading lady going through in white and yellow. We've got Elaine Marshall leading the Ladies Cup at the moment, so we're going to see a second different winner in 2 races in the Ladies Cup. She's beating Fiona Wallace at the moment. Fiona a few lengths behind, but still second in the ladies class. Malcolm McNabb busy trying to chase down Ross Wiley there. Ross in the white and blue livery car. And then down behind them, it's Murray Muir, the pink and black car. A little bit of a bump over the curves there for Ross Wiley. All the field looking pretty good at the moment. The black car, Lewis Grant, another newcomer to the championship. Good to see him here. Chris Reid in the mix as well. The white number 29 car, as you heard, the brother of Kyle Reid, enjoying his racing as well in the minis. Challenge on, though, as car number 2 comes under a bit of pressure. Mikey Faulkner there is car number 2. We've got someone off into pit lane. That's Danny Dreelan. So Danny Dreelan, well, it looks like he was having some problems. Whether he's got water in the electrics or not, I don't know. But he comes into pit lane, and hopefully they'll be able to get him back out. There is always the chance of securing some points, but a pit stop's going to put him way down the order. Well, of course, he was way down the order anyway, because the leaders were coming up on him. As we go back to the race leader, Tim Slay, and his brother David, starting to pull a little bit clear now of the 3rd place man, who gets a bit of a drift on there. Kenny Brewster. David Slay, reigning champion, car number 1. It is, as he said, a long season. He's not going to be overly concerned. He wants to win races, but it's not a huge concern as long as he doesn't start racking up too many non-finishes. He hasn't had any of those yet, and that's first meeting's the last meeting you really want a non-finish, because it can put you on the back foot for the rest of the year. No drop scores in the championship as well. So here we come back into Carlu corner again. All neat, tidy circuit, starting to dry out just a little bit, and that's probably going to work well for Tim Slay. Best lap time for him in the 72nd bracket, 1 minute 10.33.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new GoRacingTV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Gap now 4, maybe 5 seconds between them and the 3rd place car. Still Murray Muir in 3rd position. The cars climb up the hill once again. A drier line appearing in the middle of the circuit, which you'll say, well, we'll see most of the cars go. Kenneth Brewster now clear of his brother, just a couple of lengths separate him. That might mean that he could try and close down on Murray Muir in 3rd place. We'll see how that pans out. We've got a back marker coming into play as well. I think that's going to be Danny Dreelan after his pit stop. He's a couple of laps down, but Danny's still out there. lost a lap on his visit. Glad that he's got the car out there. And of course, the key thing is, if the car's not working, take it into pit lane, get it back out on track. Even if you're a lap down, it's real valuable track time, and he's paid for the track time as well. And the driver of his stature won't interfere with the race leaders at all, so it's not going to be a problem for the two Slade brothers when they catch up on him. But there is Danny going through the picture down towards the hairpin, and it's still Tim Slade leading his brother David. I wonder how fierce the battling's going to be between the two. And David Slade looks down the inside, thinks about it, and then switches back to the outside line at the hairpin. I'm sure we're not going to see any desperate lunges on each other, but they've got so much space clear of the third place man at the moment, they could pretty much race away to their heart's content. But that was definite pressure. And look at this challenge for third. Kenny Brewster coming up the inside. Visibility is a real problem for Kenny. He's going to have to get that sorted out, but you can see how difficult it is for him. And having said that, he's coming down the inside of Murray Muir, takes the inside. Muir gets the position back there as he goes down into Duffer's Dip, gets a slide on, wheels onto the curb, sideways onto the grass, and surely he's going to lose a position. We've got to be careful here. He doesn't come back on in front of them. Kenny Brewster puts the brakes on. Brown goes to back. Well, he doesn't go round completely. He rejoins, but his brother goes through. So Steve Brewster up into third position now, and Murray Muir had a big problem there. Well, the man with the problem visibility-wise was Kenny Brewster, who has lost a couple of places. Lead pair go through, followed by backmarker Danny Dreelan after his pit stop, now 2 laps down. And let's look back at the gap. It's 8 or 9 seconds, and the gap will be accentuated now by the problems that the chase has had. David Slade takes a wide line in car number 1, the reigning champion, looking to try and take some points away from his brother. Remember, there are points for fastest lap as well, so those points going to Carl Reid in race 1. They look like at the moment, as the car's gone to the last lap, and conditions I don't think getting any easier, Steve Brewster's going to take the extra point for fastest lap in this one, the man running currently in third place. So it's going to be a podium and an extra point as Tim Slade gets it slightly sideways going down Duffer's Dip, and David Slade closes up, and we're going to see a last lap change of position from these two cars. So it's the Slade boys still out front, and David Slade, the chaser. Tim Slade very clearly under pressure. He's had his brother right in his rear view mirror all the way through the race, but he's held on coolly so far in very difficult conditions. Out of John Arweir for the last time. We look back, there's Danny Dreelan. Where's the third place car? Well, you can see them, they're a blur in the distance, the third place car. The gap is out to, well, nearly 10 seconds between the Slade brothers and the rest of the field. They've driven so well in the wet conditions. Down Railway Straight again, out of his lots, down towards the hairpin, and let's see whether David Slade's going to have room on the inside. No, he isn't. There's always standing water there on the inside, so really perhaps the inside line not the line to take on the wet weather here. But where is the checkered flag? There it is, we can see it through the rain, and it's win number 2, a perfect start to the season for Tim Slade. David Slade in second position. We're going to look back, and it's the yellow car of Steve Brewster. He's got the fastest lap and takes the podium position in third place. Kenny Brewster's fourth. Now, what's happened to Murray Muir? Well, Murray coming home in Kyle Reid coming home in 10th position behind Murray Muir, looking at me lap times, but here's confirmation. The Slades first and second, Steve Brewster in third from Kenny Brewster, then Stephen Clark and Steve Kerr, Malcolm McNabb 7th from Ross Wiley, then it was Murray Muir and Kyle Reid, Chris Reid in 11th, Mikey Falconer in 12th place, 13th and winning the Ladies' Cup, Elaine Marshall from Kenny McLeod, great drive to 14th from the back, then Fiona Wallace, Scott McKenzie, Nikki Dixon, Emma Bruce in 18th, followed by Steph McMurdo, then Guy Johnston, John Finlayson 21st from Hamish Brandon, Lewis Grant and Danny Dreelan in 24th.
I'm here with the Ladies' Cup winner, number 21, Elaine Marshall. Fiona won the first one, and you were keeping her honest, but you've taken the win in race 2.
I have, and she kept me honest in this race. She pushed me all the way around, but I don't know how I quite managed it, but I've managed to come in ahead of her. So I'm happy with it.
You'll be one of the few people that's glad it's raining. You seem to be a bit quicker in the wet.
I did manage it. I don't know how, but I've managed it. Yeah, I'm quite happy it's raining now.
Good stuff. Well done. You've got one more to go this afternoon, though.
Yeah, I hope I do this again.
Good stuff. Well done.
Thank you.
I'm here with the top 3 from the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup. I'm going to start in the middle with our winner. Second time, second win. This is going a little bit too well, isn't it, Tim?
I wish I hadn't said that, Joe. It's never going to go too well, eh? Yeah, I mean, it's all gone according to plan and some, I suppose, eh? I'm absolutely delighted with the results so far. My brother was certainly keeping me honest, and he was had a couple of challenges a couple of times, but fortunately kept a level head and thought, it's probably not going to happen if sort of tuck up there, because I seem to have the sort of the door closed on him, any sort of given an opportunity when he's trying to have a wee dive, and it worked off.
It looked a bit sensible from where I was standing, because I was on the start-finish straight. I didn't see that, but I was wondering, are you expecting a great big stinking dirty lunge from the big brother?
Well, my brother's got form for having lunges from like sort of the exit of Clark's, you know, for the hairpin. You know, he's got form for it. It's worked for him a lot of times. So yeah, my eyes were firmly fixed in the mirror and have a look, and any twitch, see where he was going to go.
6th on the grid for the final race of the day. Can you win again?
I think it has been done before, but we've just got to give it a go, Joe, don't we?
Good stuff, well done. Moving across to the runner-up, you kept him honest. Now, you two, in my opinion, kind of tore away from everybody a little bit. There was a big gap to the rest of them, and you're the only two that were making that last-minute frantic changes. Does that make the difference?
Yeah, I think so, definitely. I mean, obviously, when you come out here for a dry setting, like, you need to make some changes to get the performance to be a bit better. Soften everyone at the back a wee bit, maybe a wee bit harder at the front there to try and improve the weight transfer. Tim and I got off there just to be already agreed before we started the race, just not to race for the first few laps there, make our gap, then we'd try and get on after that. Made a few chances there of a pass, you know, but you know it's too early in the season for smashing each other. In these wet conditions, the chances are that's probably what would happen. You know, is it worth it? Probably not. I'm quite happy to take 2nd place this time round.
When you're right behind him, is it just another car, or is it the wee brother?
It's my brother, and it's a team car, so you know you have to be a bit more sensible there, you know, than you might for someone else, for one of Noble's teams.
Good stuff. It's too early in the year to be squabbling over points at this stage. Well done, guys. Stephen, step in.
Yep, never too early to squabble.
Never too early to squabble. Well done, 3rd place. It didn't look like it was going to happen. You had a go at Kyle. From your point of view, rerun that incident with Kyle.
To
put you on the spot?
Yeah, put me on the spot. Yeah, I came out, looked up the inside coming into Clark's, and then he obviously tried to cover. I think he got a bit of oversteer coming through the corner, and then I looked to go around the outside, and then he tried to push me out across back onto the grass, I think, and he just came across the front of my car, and I saw him going for the tyres, and I was glad because I was quite happy before, you know, we got the reverse grid, and I knew I was in contention for that, so it was a bit of a shame for him.
A racing incident?
It was indeed, but I'll go see him now and make sure he's alright. So.
Well done on the 3rd place.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Welcome back to a still very, very wet Knockhill for the final race of the first event of the 2012 season for the Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup. This is the reverse grid race. And on pole position, Stevie Kerr with Stephen Clark alongside. Then it's Kenny Brewster and his brother Steve Brewster on row 2. The Slay Boys on row 3, David and Tim. Tim Slay looking for a win from 6. Then it's Malcolm McNabb and Ross Wiley, Murray Muir and Kyle Reid, Chris Reid and Mikey Falconer on row 6. 7th row of the grid, Elaine Marshall. Then it's Kenny McLeod and Fiona Wallace and Scott McKenzie on row 8. Row 9, Nikki Dixon with Emma Bruce. Then it's Steph McMurdo and Guy Johnston. John Finlayson and Hamish Brandon on the 11th row, then Lewis Grant and Danny Dreelan. William Smith next, and James Bruce, and a space at the back of the grid for Stefan de Resta. We've got some non-starters in the 3rd race. Unfortunately, Fiona Wallace has got a problem, as has William Smith, and Stefan not being sorted out as well. And drama as well, because problems for Malcolm McNabb in car number 4, and well, whether it's water in the electrics, that would be very understandable. Let's hope that Malcolm can get out on circuit and get ready for our 3rd race of the day. How easy is it going to be for Tim Slay to grab a hat-trick? That is very definitely what he's after, but it's going to be a tall order for him to come through from 6 on the grid. We very, very rarely see a hat-trick of wins, counting the reverse grid race, but we'll see what happens with Stevie Kerr and Steve Clark on the front of the grid. Steve Kerr, the white car with the checkered roof, Steve Clark in green. Lights on the gantry, and it's the last start of the day for us. Great start by Kerr. Not so good by Clark, I don't think, or is it? Look at running well is Steve Brewster in yellow. Who's coming up? It looks like Malcolm McNabb starting from pit lane, and Tim Slay on the inside up into 2nd place from 6 on the grid. Brilliant start by Tim Slay. He's sladeable. That's a fantastic start up into 2nd position at Scotsman, but a brilliant start too by Stevie Kerr, who held his nerve real well from a 6th place finish in race 2. Superb start from him as we go on board with the championship leader, double winner here this weekend. Tim Slay in 2nd position, and Stevie Kerr, who is defending well from him. Oh, there's a bit of a gap as they come into Clark on the first time, and Tim Slay jinks the car over to the right, goes through into lead position. Well, who'd have thought this, from 6 to 1st in less than a lap? And well, who's going to deny Tim Slay a hat-trick? This is incredible stuff from him. Up into 2nd position now goes Kenny Brewster. Coming up into third is Stephen Clark, recovering from his start, and it's David Slade bundling down the inside. Doesn't clatter against Stevie Kerr. I think Stevie Kerr drove a great first few corners. Off onto the dirt goes Stephen Clark in green. The rest of the field making it round. I've got to say, given the conditions, the reverse grid driving standards, very, very good indeed. Elaine Marshall there, white with a yellow top. She's going to grab a few more points in the Ladies' Championship, as we heard. Non-starting this one for Fiona Wallace. That's going to be very disappointing for Wee Fee as we go on board with Kenny Brewster in second position now, down at Scotsman, challenging the race leader Tim Slay. I wonder if he's going to be any chink in Tim Slay's armour during this race. He's shown the pace so far, qualified, hasn't bagged a fastest lap thus far. In fact, neither of the Slay brothers have done that, and we'll see how the rest of this one unfolds, but very, very difficult conditions and everybody driving well. Slay from Kenny Brewster, then it's David Slay, the reigning champion, in third place. Fourth position in yellow, Stephen Brewster. Rest of the field going through. It's so difficult. The front is the place to be. You can't blame Tim Slade for wanting to pile his way through, but that was skillful stuff. Into the hairpin, you can see the difference now. They get strung out on the first lap. It was a bit of a bundle down into the hairpin. We saw David Slade nip down the inside, but now they all take the racing line that they want.
Club, an amateur racer. Here at GoRacingTV, we salute you. And we want to give you all the tools and info to compete with the best. Find out how to do it all from your own garage by watching our Club Racer and Autocrosser shows. GoRacingTV.com, supplying all your video racing needs.
And on to Hislops once again, still Tim Slay out front. You've got to say who's going to beat him. We've seen people take the challenge to him, but nobody has been able to get past. But Kenny Brewster's going to have a go, looks down the inside, thinks better of it. The door was shut there by Slay. Good defensive driving by Slay, equally good speculative attack there by Kenny Brewster, but now David Slay's going to have a go, looks to the inside line. Brewster chops across to block him and also thinks about having a look up the inside line of the race leader Tim Slay. Through the spray they go, and what's Brewster going to do? Is he going to be a change of attack here? Maybe look at the outside as they come down to Duffers. It's brave in the dry. You can say it might be insane in the wet, and he thinks better of it. Down into Scotsman corner again. David Slay with the luxury of being able to take the wider line, the proper racing line through Scotsman corner, which might tee up a bit more exit speed. Oh dear, off goes the pole man. Stevie Kerr, wheels up onto the tyres. It was a brave effort from Stevie Kerr, a great start from him. That's going to help his confidence going into the tyres, won't, but the way he handled the start very definitely will. So hard lines Steve Kerr, who is out of the race. Back we go though, Steve Brewster in yellow still doing well here in fourth place, trying to hunt down David Slay and put a little bit of pressure on him. Slay comes out of the slipstream and out of the spray significantly, looks to the outside line, and Brewster going very, very wide as well, splashing through that standing water on the entrance to the hairpin, but it's still Tim Slay out front, and contact between Stephen Brewster and David Slay. Contact between the two. Now, was that a bit of bodywork pinging off? Let's hope all the cars are okay, but it's David Slay still in third position. Tim Slay up across the line, stationary yellows there as they cross the line. That's so that they are aware of Stevie Kerr's car, so they won't be able to pass going down there. They've got to be careful. I think Stevie is out and okay, which is good news. And well, there's contact there on the back of Kenny Brewster from David Slay. Now that shouldn't be happening in a yellow flag zone to my mind. I'm sure that was accidental. It didn't look like a deliberate one, but he was very late on the brakes, and Kenny Brewster gets punted off and wide, and David Slay gets up into second place. So we've got a touch of deja vu here with the Slay brothers first and second. It's and look at that, David Slay getting real squirrely there. I don't think conditions are getting any easier here at Knockhill, but it's Tim Slay from Dave back on board with the recovering Kenny Brewster, who to my mind might have something to say about. There were clearly yellow flags. There's a wave yellow flag at the top of the hill at the start line. Now what I must admit I didn't really clock was where the end of the yellow flag zone was, so we'll let the stewards deal with that one. But here we come out of the hairpin again, the climb up the hill. Ross Wiley in front. He's had a great day so far, Ross Wiley. This is his first car race, first car race meeting, and he's acquitting himself very, very well indeed. He'll be running in the Newcomers Cup for first or second year drivers. Down the hill, visibility again, you can see so difficult. All the drivers are quitting themselves well. And still Tim Slay out front, through go the fields. Just looking a little bit further down, there you can see Elaine Marshall leading the Ladies Cup at the moment. There's Hamish Brandon in car number 8, and I think behind him 22 Guy Johnston that we saw out in that second lap incident in race 1. They've got the car fixed and he's back out, climbing through the field too, and having a good dice with Hamish Brandon there, Guy in the grey 22 machine. So close racing all the way down the order in this, 27 cars, as we said, started the day, which was absolutely superb. We lost very, very few, although having said that, in the distance, a yellow car off circuit, that's Steve Brewster. Stephen Brewster's off the circuit. There he is, he's out of the car, he's safe and well, but that's going to be disappointment for him. We go on board with Kenny Brewster now, trying to chase Ross Wiley. You come into car race, let's see what Kenny can do. He's going to have a look, switches to the inside line, you probably expect him to do that. Ross defending a little bit, but is there just enough room, or is he just quit? No, I think he's grabbed the room as they go under the Beatson's Bridge and defending that position pretty hard at the moment. So good racing between these two. Slave Boys still out front and gunning for first and second place. Wide line here, incredible, 4-car dice for the lead. Did Ross Wiley expect to be dicing? Now, as I said, he didn't benefit from the reverse grid, so this is a great performance from Wiley here in the wet in third position. The 15 car, the blue and white machine, still being followed by Kenny Brewster. Back behind him, I think, is Kyle Reid, still in 5th position. So Kyle having a good go, but David Slay starting to put a bit of pressure on his brother. Tim Slay's car not perhaps looking as dominant as it did in the first 2 races. Remember, this pair got away by 10 seconds from the rest of the field. They don't seem to have as big an advantage this time, as Kenny Brewster tries to come up the inside as they come into the hairpin to try and take 3rd position. Doesn't work for him inside, switches to the outside line. And now David Slay around the outside. Tim forces him off into the gravel. So Tim Slade grabs the line that he wants and goes into the gravel. And now Ross Wiley, with a bit more momentum, thinks about looking up the inside of the reigning champion. Great racing from these guys. On to the last lap here at Knockhill. I think the drivers are going to be relieved that the race is over. I'm sure they're probably enjoying it, but it's difficult conditions as they go down the hill for the last time. Well, cracking stuff from the minis, and it now becomes a 5-car dice for the lead. Coming up to join in as well is Steve Clark in green, and David Slay looking at the inside line. He's all over the back of Tim Slay. It almost looks like Tim Slay is holding them all up. Let's see what David Slay can do as they come out of John R. Weir. Ross Wiley's in the mix as well, and Slay moves over. David Slay moves to the inside of his brother, and he's going to take the lead. David Slay's through into the lead, but Ross Wiley's coming through as well. That was a great piece of race reading by Ross Wiley up into 2nd position, and Tim Slay not looking very happy at all, down in 3rd position. Oh, there's contact! Off goes Kyle Reid and Kenny Brewster. They're off into the tyres. They're still pirouetting, and they come to a halt. It's going to be no points for those two. Or are we going to see the 20 car of Kyle Reid get going again, or is he going to park up? Meanwhile, on the opposite side of the track, it's a checkered flag for the champion, the reigning champion David Slay. Ross Wiley takes 2nd place from Tim Slay in 3rd. Stephen Clark comes through for 4th position. David Slay takes the win from Ross Wiley, a podium in his first car meeting. Tim Slay next from Steve Clark. Kenny McLeod coming through for 5th ahead of Mikey Falconer. 7th was Scott McKenzie, then Malcolm McNabb. Elaine Marshall wins the Ladies Cup. Hamish Brandon was 10th from Murray Muir, then Lewis Grant. 13th was James Bruce. Next up, Steph McMurdo from Emma Bruce, then Danny Dreeland 16th. John Finlayson 17th position ahead of Nicky Dixon. 19th place, the final finisher, was Guy Johnston. So Tim Slay leads the overall championship from his brother by 1 point. Ross Wiley in 3rd place ahead of Steve Clark on 36, and then Kenny Brewster on 31. In the Newcomers Cup, Steve Clark leads the way from Ross Wiley. Malcolm McNabb in 3rd place. Next it's Scott McKenzie and Lewis Grant. And then in the Ladies Cup, Elaine Marshall comes away from round 1 with the lead, 70 points. Steph McMurdo 2nd on 48, jointly with Emma Bruce, and Fiona Wallace, the reigning champion, 4th with 40 points.
I'm here with the Second time, sorry, that Elaine Marshall has won the Ladies' Cup in the Scottish Mini Cooper Cups. That's a mouthful for you. Must like these wet conditions.
Well, I actually don't think I did, but it seems to prefer, my car seems to prefer it. I don't know what happened, but Fiona wasn't out in this race, so...
Yeah, Fiona had a problem just before the start, never made it out, but confident you'd have won anyway?
Yes, yep. Yeah, I didn't seem to lose very many places, and I think only lost one place, so yeah, I was delighted with that this time.
We're here with the top three from the final race in the Mini Cooper Cup, and they're frantically trying to work out points. I'll start with the third place man. 2 wins today in a third place, roughly, potentially, probably leading the championship.
Yeah, I think I'm still leading the championship just now. Wee bit frustrating there. Obviously picked up some damage on my near side front suspension. It felt pretty bad. I mean, I thought I'd pretty much done it. We came at the last lap there, and I'm sort of going to have all 3 race wins. I thought cake and eat it this weekend, fantastic. But it wasn't to be. It sounded pretty severe, and I just had to sort of back right off out of it, sort of thing, you know, and just limp over the finish. But I got tangled up in somebody else's accident as well towards the end. Managed to get out of that and salvage third, which is a good result.
Looked like you had your hands full holding everybody up there for sort of 3-4 laps to go. It looked a bit of a nightmare. It was a complete nightmare. Like I say, I could feel it sort of progressing, get worse and worse and worse with sort of the car, and I just had to sort of like try and keep it out in front there, you know, and sort of keep it together, and hopefully nothing was going to fall to bits. But third's better than a DNF, that's for sure. And you can't be unhappy with the weekend.
No, I'm delighted with the weekend. There's still that bit of sort of disappointment that obviously I didn't manage to get the third race win, but there's always next race meeting, eh?
Well done.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
And the winner of the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup is the bigger brother, David. Would you agree with his calculations on this championship?
I'm not too sure, you know, it's going to be pretty close, because I certainly got the fastest lap in the last wet race. Whether I got that in that race or not, I'm not too sure, but it could be like maybe 1 or 2 points adrift. We'll just have to wait and see, but it'll be close.
It's going to be a good battle throughout the year, and I'm tipping you two to be fighting out right to the bitter end.
I think a lot of people have said that, but you just never know, like, there's always a few new hot shots around that are putting some good pace in, like, so, you know, hopefully they'll be up there as well, keep everything lively and interesting.
And second place in the Mini Cooper Cup, Ross Wiley, great result. I take it you like the wet conditions.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, I'm coming from a karting background, and I was never really a favourite in the wet, but I seem to have, you know, picked it up quite well today. I think we've got a few things we can work on. You know, getting off the start line for being one. You know, I'm not used to having a standing start, so that's something we can work on. But obviously, you know, the pace is definitely there, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
These sleigh boys are quick. We'll move this way before we get run over. These sleigh boys are going quickly. Do you think you can find the pace you need to bridge that gap?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, they've been racing a long time. You know, a lot of experience. I wouldn't say, you know, that the next couple of races to be beating them, you know, but maybe towards, you know, halfway, you know, towards the end of the season, then hopefully I can be fighting with them for the wins, you know.
Well done, you'll go home happy. Great result from the first meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Unfortunately, that's all we have time for from the Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup, but do join us next time for more exciting four-wheeled action.